She thought he was the plumber, he turned out to be her missing piece. The doorbell rang sharply, slicing through the stillness of the late afternoon. Grace frowned, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face as she approached the door. She wasn't expecting anyone, but the persistent ringing made it clear someone needed her attention. Peeking through the peephole, she saw a man standing on the porch, toolbox in hand, his face partly obscured by the brim of a worn baseball cap. "Hi, ma'am. You called for a plumber?" the man asked when she opened the door. His voice was warm but tinged with hesitancy, as if unsure whether he was at the right place. Grace blinked in confusion. She hadn't called for a plumber. "I think there's been a mistake," she said. The man scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. "Address matches the ticket," he said, holding up a work order with her details. Grace's initial wariness softened, he seemed harmless enough. "Well," she began, glancing back into her kitchen, where the faucet had been dripping incessantly for weeks. "Since you're here, maybe you can take a look." The man nodded, stepping inside. He introduced himself as Luke and immediately set to work, pulling out tools and inspecting the pipes. Grace found herself watching him, struck by his quiet diligence. He moved with a steady precision, occasionally muttering to himself about corroded fittings or mismatched valves. "So, how long have you been doing this?" she asked, breaking the silence. "Not long," Luke admitted with a small smile. "I'm actually between things right now, just trying to make ends meet. A friend got me into this gig." Grace nodded, intrigued but not prying further. An hour later, the faucet was fixed, and Luke was packing up his tools. "All set," he said, flashing a brief smile. "No more dripping." Grace offered to pay him, but he waved her off. "It's on the house. Consider it a favor." She insisted, but Luke held firm, tipping his cap as he left. "Just pay it forward, ma'am." Days turned into weeks, but Grace couldn't get Luke out of her mind. There had been something about him, a quiet loneliness in his eyes, perhaps, that lingered with her. As someone who had spent the last year navigating life alone after a painful divorce, Grace recognized that look all too well. One evening, while scrolling through community forums online, she stumbled upon a post that stopped her cold. "Local handyman seeking odd jobs, honest, reliable," it read, accompanied by a picture of Luke. She clicked on the post, her heart tightening as she read about his struggle to support his younger sister, who had been diagnosed with a rare illness. Impulsively, Grace reached out. She didn't need a handyman, but she offered him a job anyway, repainting her spare room. When Luke arrived a few days later, he seemed surprised to see her again but didn't question it. As Luke worked, Grace found excuses to linger nearby, offering coffee and conversation. She learned about his sister, Lily, and the financial strain her medical bills had placed on them. Despite everything, Luke spoke with unwavering love and determination. "I'll do whatever it takes," he said, his voice steady. "She's all I've got." Grace was deeply moved. She hadn't realized how much she had missed feeling connected to someone's story, someone's life. One rainy afternoon, Grace decided to pay it forward in a big way. She reached out to her network of friends, neighbors, and even strangers on social media, sharing Luke's story. The response was overwhelming. Donations poured in, accompanied by heartfelt messages of support. Within days, she had raised enough money to cover several months of Lily's treatment. When Luke arrived at her house to finish the painting, Grace handed him a check. His eyes widened in disbelief. "What's this?" "It's for Lily," Grace said simply. Luke stared at the check, his hands trembling. "I can't accept this," he stammered. "You can, and you will," Grace said firmly. "You've already given so much, your time, your kindness. Let us give back." Tears welled in Luke's eyes as he whispered, "Thank you. I don't know how to repay you." "You already have," Grace said softly. The following weeks brought a transformation not just for Luke and Lily but for Grace as well. The act of helping had reignited something within her, a sense of purpose, of belonging. She and Luke grew closer, their lives intertwining in ways neither had anticipated. One evening, as they sat on her porch watching the sun dip below the horizon, Luke turned to Grace. "You didn't just fix my life," he said. "You reminded me that there's still good in this world." Grace smiled, feeling a warmth she hadn't known in years. "Funny," she said. "I was going to say the same about you." In that moment, Grace realized that Luke hadn't just been a plumber passing through her life. He had been the missing piece she didn't know she was searching for, a reminder that even in the most unexpected encounters, there is the potential for profound connection and healing. And so, what began with a dripping faucet became a story of redemption and hope, a testament to the power of kindness and the beautiful ways it can ripple through lives.